Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Beautiful Black Butterfly. And today we were talking about and reading about doing something right. But first I'm going to read 2nd Chronicles chapter 33 verse 12, which says, "In his distress he sought the favor of the Lord his God and humbled himself greatly." Now, to get into the story about doing something right. The letter from Jason and inmate. An inmate surprised my wife and me. We forced a puppy to become serving dogs to assist people with disabilities. One such puppy had graduated to the next training. Pause in the training phase.
Phase.
Which was run by prisoners who had been taught how to train the dog. Jason letter to us expressed his sorrow for his past, but then he says, Snicker is the 17th dog I have trained, and she is the best one. When I see her looking up at me, I feel like I'm finally doing something right. Jason isn't the only one with regret. We all had them.
Manasseh.
Manasseh, king of Judah, had plenty. 2nd Chronicles 33 outlines some of his atrocity, building sexually explicit author to
Pagan.
pagan god, practicing witchcraft and sacrificing his own children. He led the entire nation down this
Sordid.
disordered path. The Lord spoke to Manasseh and his people, but they paid no attention. Eventually, God got his attention. The
Assyrians.
the Assyrians invaded, put a hook in his nose, and took him to Balaam.
Babylon.
To Babylon. Next, Messiah finally did something right. He sought the favor of the Lord, the Lord his God, and humbled himself greatly. God healed him and restored him as king. Messiah replaced the pagan practice with worship of the one true God. Do y'all regret threatening to consume you?
Regrets.
Do y'all regret threatening
Threaten.
to consume consume you? It's not too late. God hear our humble prayer of repentance. Question for today: what regrets do you have? And how might you honor God by letting Him redeem them and use you to serve Him? So first question, what regrets do you have? I give you guys a minute to think about it. First question, what regrets do you have? Regret is something we all face at one time or another because we all make mistakes. How do we work through that regret when the pain is deep? And we all have regret, no matter what it is, no matter what it may look like, we all have regret. And to give you an example is like some of us that don't have like dads or anything. And some of us that don't have dad and stuff, we off we often, or even if you don't have a mom, we often say things that we regret. Like we say things like, "Oh, my dad is not in my life, so if he ain't in it now, meaning he ain't gonna know be in it. So why should I care what even happened to him if you don't care what's going on in my life? I don't care what's already happened to me." Like things like that. Like we always say things that we regret, and I want to stay on topic with disability, so I'm gonna use this as an example. So for the people who have disability, and I'm one of them. So um, we often say things and we regret, like, why did he make me this way? Why did he make me different? Why did God make me different than other people? Why he had to make me weak, or make me sore, or make me don't really understand what's going on, or he or say, "Oh, you don't know how to read, so you ain't gonna be able to do this and that." And if you keep telling yourself that you, you can't do this or you can't do that, then you will never move on and try something because of what you said. But cause I used to say to myself all the time growing up, why did God make me this way? God, why you made it that I don't know how to read at all, or why you made me this way where sometimes I may have pain in my body, but excuse me, but the way why you had to make me have this type of disability or this, why can't not you make me be normal like everybody else? And then when we say things that we regret and things like that, but if you do have a disability like I do, and you are born with it, then you learn to accept who you are, because God didn't make everybody the same. If God made everybody the same, we wouldn't like that at all. We would be trying to figure out things how to look different. Oh, everybody look the same. We all may be. If God made everybody the same, we all would be one color. We would have been either white, Spanish, black. We all would have been the same, and we all would have the same hairstyle and things like that. And then after you get older, eventually people is gonna figure out how to make themselves different. Oh, I'm gonna do this because nobody else doing it. Oh, I'm gonna wear my clothes this way because nobody wearing their clothes this way. Eventually, we all are gonna do things to be different. Scientists would have came out with what they got now, where people could do things to the color of their skin. So we all would have been doing things differently in our lives. And God don't want us to think that way. He made everyone special in their own way. He made all of us different. He made all of us different. This different shade of white, this different shade of black, and whatever race you are, this different shade of color on each one of us. We are all different. Everyone talks different, and everyone don't look the same. Yeah, when we have children, yeah, our kids are gonna look at us, but there's gonna be always something different about our children. Even if they do look like us, there's gonna still be something different about them. May share the same blood like them, but eventually they will have their own. They will have their own personality. And that is what God wants us to do. We all feel that way sometimes, but it's nothing wrong being different. There's nothing wrong with having a disability. Despite how you would, despite what you always do, it's nothing wrong with having a disability because it's something great for everybody. Even if in certain places, like as an example, Africa, they believe people in certain part of Africa, they believe that people who had who who had disability are cursed and things like that, and they will hide them. In a certain part of Africa. I never knew that until I was watching this show. This African thing, beauty came up, and then this beauty came up, and it was like kids with disability, and yeah, but it's just what people think sometimes. But when we live out in the United States, some people are like, how are even people who are with disability, how were they even made? How were they even thought of? No, it didn't like to come up with all these different signs and things like that. No, but none of that stuff that came from the science. That came from science. Because God made about different things. The Bible talks about people with disabilities, and God made everybody different. And that's the reason why we all are young. Nobody's not the same. And people who have disability, they're very smart. And some of them you can't even tell they have disability. And people like to judge the one that don't look like they have disability, but they do. You may not can tell, but trust me, it's things about people that don't look that was born with disability that you can't tell that they have one. But watch them closely, you can eventually tell. Not about say don't judge. It's not because you judge people. And we say things that we regret. Oh, my dad, this person in my life, so like we saying things, but our tongues are powerful. Gotta be careful what you're saying. Oh, I wish this on this person, I wish this on that person. No, because if something happened to that person, you will regret it and you will know how to live with yourself. But be careful what you say. But we all have regret. We really do. Regret is a powerful emotion that can trap you into being stuck, like in quicksand if left unchecked. Regret is often tied to guilt, but it doesn't have to be. A person can feel regret even if they didn't do anything sinful. Sometimes we may make a choice that wasn't wrong, but later wish we chosen differently. Like, you should be careful how you treat people. So much suicide going on in this world, and then when something happened to you, you regret it, and you wish you could take it all back. But that's the problem. You can't go back to your past. What happened to your past in your past, but but you go ask for forgiveness from that family, from that person that did something that has suicide. You go ask them for forgiveness, and once you forgive, and if they forgive you, you forgive it. If they don't want to forgive you right now, but at least you said how you feel, and you forgave that person because you're doing it for yourself, not for somebody else. Forgiveness, you're doing it for you to make you feel better, and the person accepted back, and they honestly forgave you too. But sometimes it takes people around to forgive somebody for something. And that's how it is. Just like, we should be careful when we treat people, things that we say, because persons they tie and they tie, and that they want to kill you. There's something they keep telling you, and you don't know, and they tell you to keep it to yourself, and you not saying nothing. That person actually did what he or she told you they was gonna do. You're gonna feel some type of way, and they're gonna have questions for you. Why didn't you tell somebody? Because they told you not to. But sometimes people that want to suicide themselves, sometimes they regret that last minute. Some don't live through it, but once that don't, you could tell in their face that they really didn't want to go through it. They just in so much pain, they just don't know how to take it or what to do with it no more. But you should be careful the way you treat people. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Just because a person is different than you or born different doesn't mean they don't have feelings. Because we all have feelings. Regret can trap us because it can lead to replaying the event of our decisions over and over again in our mind, all the while wishing we would have done something different. The impact of the regret is dependent on how big the decision is. If you chose the one item off the restaurant menu, you might regret the decision for a few hours until the next time you eat. If you feel like you made the wrong career move or that you chose the wrong spouse, you might be thinking about that for a while. Feelings of regret can lead to a lot of other emotions like frustration, anger, depression, shame, anxiety, stress, and other things, and make us spiritually and mentally unhealthy. In these instances of major regret, the only one who can free us is Jesus. So we will look to the scriptures. So we will look through the scriptures together for our sources, and we'll look at a few examples of regrets in the lives of Esther and David and Saul. Then we will discover the path on how to move forward. But listen to this. The number one thing to keep in mind throughout the devotion is that no matter what, we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28, coming from the New Living Version. So, Romans 8, Romans chapter 8, verse 28 says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Wow. Look at God. Wow. Next question. How might you honor God by letting him redeem them and use you to serve him? I'll give you guys a minute to think about that. Here we go. How might you honor God by letting him redeem them and use you to serve him? First, Corinthians chapter 6, verse 20 said that you were bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your body. Proverbs 3:9 said, honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruit of all your crops. Judge 9:9 said this, but the olive tree answered, should I give up my oil, not which both God and humans are honored, who hold sway over the tree? Sway over the tree. Here's that one. Romans 12:10 says, be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourself. Proverbs 21:21 says, whoever pursues righteousness and love find life, prosperity, and honor. Alright, so honor isn't an idea I created. It is a key concept in scripture. God created each one of us, and everything he made is very good. See, y'all, see what I was telling y'all? God created each one of us, and everything he made is very good. Genesis chapter 1, verse 31 says, when you show honor to anyone, your mother, a delivery person, the homeless guy, you are active, activate, actively, actively constantly recognizing and respecting God's creation. Your actions are saying to Him, God, I love you and everything you have created. By honoring the person, you are showing God you recognize the value of the individual He made. Today, honor is often seen as something that started in the individual really and is then seen by others. Jesus challenged that practice in his sermon on the Mount. I believe he was not only saying that our righteousness is not determined by what others see, but also that our worth and whether we are worth of honor is not based on how others perceive us. God sees the value in every person He made, and He wanted us to do the same. This is why we must ask the Holy Spirit to show us the worth of those around us and give us the humility to honor and serve them as Jesus did. First Peter chapter 2 verse 17 says, show proper respect to everyone. Love the family of believers. Fear God. Honor the
Emperor.
emperor. Matthew 6 chapter 1 to 3 said this. This is Jesus talking. Be careful not to practice your righteousness in front of others to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. So when you give to the needy, do not announce it with, with trumpet as the hypocrite do in the synagogue, synagogue.
Synagogues.
Do in the synagogue and on the street to be honored by others. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward in full. But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. So you don't have to be like those people in the street that would sign and yelling on the microphone and telling people what they should be. But what they do, they are just yelling at them, and then people in the street is just arguing or throwing things, but they yelling at them, but yet they not even doing what the Bible is even saying. And and this goes and now what I'm getting ready to read is gonna be for anybody who need encouragement. This is for parents of children with disabilities. Don't put them. You right? Don't come up here, right? That's the dog. Alright, so as a parent of a child with disability, so for people who got disability, so y'all can be encouraged and know what y'all should do. And so y'all can be encouraged and not give up on them. So I have found that one of my toughest parent tasks is helping my daughter or son make lasting friendship. I never want Grace honor to have friendship out of pity. I want her to have meaningful connection with her peers. For a while, I believe she didn't bond with others because of her disability, when in fact it was her lack of intelligence. Now, in a lot of things, some of y'all parents or follow for people who have disability. Y'all, y'all don't want your kids to go outside because you don't want them to be judged or you don't want nobody to hurt them. That's understandable, but meant for me too. My mom, she does that for me too. If I when I go forward with my corner, she makes sure be like, don't be afraid to use your phone, things like that. I want to know the person before hanging out with that person, but that's understandable. But as much as we may want to do things for our children with disability, we also need to teach them how to make friends. Our children need to learn to recognize godly characters that are eternity, joy, kindness, kindness, graciousness, respect, honor, compassion, peace, and self-control. We should teach our children to compose the trial and look for them in friendship. As the old saying goes, birds of a feather flock together. We want our children to be drawn to godly people, whether they have a disability or not. Don't focus on your child's outward appearance or the appearance of other children. Our bodies are here for a short time, and it is those internal qualities within our spirit that matters the most. Grace Anna now enjoys a group of friends that she loves dearly and who also loves her. They treat her like a little girl and not a little girl with a disability. This might get your children involved in something outside both of your comfort zone. Sit down together and allow your child to choose an activity or event to get involved with. Teach them how to meet new people and how to present themselves. It may not work the first time, but from my experience, children can't make friends when they don't have opportunity to meet new people. So second Corinthians chapter 4 verse 17 to 18 says that for our light and momentary trouble are contributing for us eternally glory that far outweigh the more. So we fix our eye not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. Since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternally. Wow, and look at God. So we might have disability, we might try to order for us to make friends. You gotta let us, have some, let us make the friends, let us choose them. And a lot of people are saying, do they have disability people in the Bible? And I'm going to give y'all a life fighter for all of us. Who myself, since I have one too. We all need heroes. What do they have in common? The comic book reader and actor movie lover might know this one, but in case you're not into that scene, they are all superheroes. What's more, they are all disability. They all disabled in some way. Professor X is in a wheelchair because of a spinal injury. Doctor Strange has irreversible nerve damage in his hand. Um,
Irreversible.
Doctor Strange has irreversible nerve damage in his hand.
Daredevil.
Daredevil is blind as is Dr. Mid
Mint.
Dr. Midnight Jericho. He's blind as Dr. Midnight. Okay. So Jericho is unable to speak and use American Sign Language to communicate.
Jericho.
Jericho is unable to speak and use American Sign Language to communicate. Isn't it wonderful that the writer who created the childhood chose to include people with differences in a powerful narrative? Inclusions, inclusions like this is important.
Narrative.
Narrative, powerful narrative.
Inclusion.
Inclusion like this is important. It helps people see themselves as part of their community, part of what's valued. Take a look at a few other people like Moses, and try not to get their names wrong.
Bartimaeus,
Bartimaeus and
Mephibosheth,
Mephibosheth, the women who couldn't stand straight from the book of Luke, the blind man from the book of Mark. What do they have in common? They are all biblical characters, and just like some of our favorite heroes from movies and comics, they are all people living with some kind of science fiction.
significant,
Some kind of significant different or disability. Look like inclusion is pretty important to God too. Now, you know what would be a real shame if you spend your life not realizing that God doesn't need able-bodied people to reveal Himself in powerful ways. It would be a real shame if you spend your Christian walk thinking God is compassionate in the Bible word because He only chose mighty people to work through and never saw the real, fragile, and yes, sometimes significantly disabled people He chose to work through instead. In fact, if you spend time reading God's Word, you will find the prevailing message are that everyone is profoundly disabled. Compared to God's power, everyone needs God and His power, and everyone equally needs the greatest hero of all time, Jesus. God doesn't need anyone to be strong in body or intelligent in order for Him to work. He just wants everyone to live in love like Jesus. As you walk through this Bible plan, see if you can find a lesson for you or someone you love from the life of just a tiny represented.
representatives,
Representatives of the biblical hero who lives with differences. And you can even say this prayer right here: God, thank you for including everyone in your story. As I work through this Bible plan, help me to stop focusing on what people might call
inferior,
inferior or less than. Help me to see myself and others with the same love and indispensably value you see in each person you have created. So next time somebody tell you how can a person be born disabled and there's no disabled people in the Bible, you tell them no. You tell them that God made me disabled for a reason. And yes, the Bible do talk about, and yes, the Bible does have people with disability that He used, that He chosen to help Him in a certain way. And Moses was one of them. Now you tell them. Isaiah chapter 45 verse 22 says it. Turn to me and be saved, all you ends of the earth, for I am God, and there is no other. Psalm 119 verse 59 says that I have considered my way and have turned my step to your steps. And you can even read 1 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 12 to 27. It's pretty long, so I'm gonna go ahead and read it. And you can even read it yourself too. Just as the Bible, though one has many parts, but all is many parts from one body, so it is with Christ. For we were all baptized by one Spirit, so as to form one body, whether Jew or Gentile, slaves or free, and we were all given the one Spirit to drink. And so the body is not made up of one part, but of many. Now, if the foot should say, because I am not a hand, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason stop being part of the body. And if the ear should say, because I am not an eye, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason stop being part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, we would where would the sense of him be? If the whole body were an ear, where would the sense of smell be? But in fact, God had placed the part in the body, every one of them, just as He wanted them to be. If they were all one part, where would the body be? And as it is, there are many parts, but one body. The eye cannot say to the hand, I don't need you. And the head cannot say to the feet, I don't need you. On the contrary, those parts of the body that seem to be weaker and dispensably, and the part that we think are less honorable, we treat with special honor, and the part that are unpresumably are treated with special motives, while our presentable part needs no special treatment, but God had put the body together, giving greater